This first news story comes to us from Alex Stedman over at IGN, and they write, Hollow Knight Silksong got an Xbox store page on April Fool's Day, and fans don't know how to feel. It's hard to overstate how eagerly Hollow Knight fans have been awaiting its sequel Silksong 5 years after it was initially announced, and now they got a little bit of hope in the form of an Xbox store page. Today, with a little fanfare, Hollow Knight Silksong got an official listing on Microsoft website. There's no release date, no trailer, no pre-orders, or anything of that sort outside of wish listing. But it's something, right? Right? Oh, and one more catch. It just so happens to be April Fool's Day, which has some fans treating this mysterious listing with a healthy amount of skepticism. Today, I will not be fooled by Silksong release dates. I will not be fooled by Silksong announcements of any kind, wrote Twitch Director of Community Marketing and Production, Mary Kish, on Twitter. My head is clear and my heart is open. You cannot destroy me. I've prepared my soul for today, you rat bastards. To be clear, there's no indication that this is some kind of cruel April Fool's Day joke by developer Team Cherry or Microsoft, but it also doesn't tell us a whole lot about where the highly anticipated sequel is. Game can be listed on the Xbox Store for any number of reasons, including routine back-end work, and some listings go up well in advance of release. Silksong has also had listings on several other stores for some time now, including PSN and the Nintendo eShop. With a game as anticipated as Silksong, any crumb of information will spur all kinds of speculation. Even Xbox Portfolio Senior Content Planning Manager Nick Zuklich ever so innocently highlighted the listing on his own Twitter. There's this goes on to mention other people's tweets here, but there is an update here as well. As some pointed out on both Reddit and Twitter, the Xbox page does have an ESRB rating, leading to speculation that it at least must be in some sort of playable state, because if the ESRB rating board can rate it, that means they can play it. ESRB raters do not play through games during the rating process for a variety of reasons, instead relying on actually I take that back. However, it's worth noting that per the ESRB's website, they do not play through games during the rating process for a variety of reasons, instead relying on disclosures from the developers. So apparently they don't play through things. That's interesting. I thought they would, because the developers could say anything, right?
Right.
I don't know. That seems weird. I don't think that's 100%. But either way, yeah. The fact that there's an ESRB rating, it's gotten rated in other countries as well. I forget, there's some other country, I was reading a different article, it's not mentioned in this one. There's another article I was reading where they even said, like, oh, it's rated in such and such country. There's a certain country where when it gets rated there, it usually means it's pretty close to coming out. And I feel like I remember seeing an article, South
The problem
South
with
Korea
that, though, is you cannot, especially around that time frame, take anything that you see seriously around the April Fool's timeline.
100%. It's definitely poor timing, which I'm sure was intentional. That was the point of it, but the fact that it's up and has a rating and all that, like, it's still there as far as I know, like, it has to be real, right? Like, if it was an April Fool's joke, it would have been gone by now. Let me see.
That's fair. But also, it has been over 5 years at this point since they announced that game. And that leads me to believe that at some point they must have started over. Right?
Oh,
That's the only thing that makes sense.
I'm sure they've gone back to the drawing board, a lot of times. Like, it's something where they got to the end and realized, because they must have, because this originally was supposed to be DLC initially, right? And then it got so big, they're like, shoot, we need to make this.
We should just make it its own game.
And so,
I think at some point in that development, they, had some critical, or maybe they had like an epiphany and just said, no, we gotta do this over. We gotta do this way, Right. Because I don't believe, well, I'm not gonna say it didn't, because there's a lot of games that took a long time, but it would be highly surprising that the original Hollow Knight took, more time to make than Silksong did, I feel like.
Do you know how long?
You don't think so?
Do you know how long the original one took?
I don't know off the top of my head, but that is why Google exists. Let's see.
Yeah, it is. Time to Google things. Yeah, I don't know. Because how long has it been since the last one came out? The last one came out, it's been like 5-6 years now, right?
So the original Hollow Knight took 3 years.
3 years.
But that was also when they had a skeleton team, when they were just like, oh, the original Team Cherry, but I'm sure, of course, with the success of Hollow Knight, they have obviously scaled up. They had to have in staff. So is this game going to be that much bigger than the original Hollow Knight that it would need to take more time than the original, you think?
I mean, I think what it is, though, is not that it's going to be so much bigger. It's that they probably spent a few years working on it as DLC, and then we're like, shoot, we got to kind of take what we have and semi start over. Yeah, pivot big time to turn it into a full on game. And that's where the issues probably came in, because it was like, all right, because they don't want to release it now, and people be like, this thing's half baked. Like, this isn't what like. This feels like DLC. It should have just been DLC. And so I think that's might be where it could take longer, because they probably spent 2 or 3 years just on the DLC, and it got to the point where like, oh, this is a problem. Like, we need to do a pivot here, and so yeah, I feel like at that point it almost like the clock reset. So they might have only realistically been working on this as a full game for 3 or 4 years now. Like, not maybe closer to even like 2.5 or 3. I don't know. In my opinion, I feel like that's good. Like, the fact that it's taken so long, that's what I wonder where the hang up could have come from. But I don't know. So I never finished Hollow Knight, but I got pretty deep into it when I first got my Steam Deck. That was like the first game I fired up randomly when I got my Steam Deck, and got like, when it got into it hard, until I got stuck in an area I don't think I was supposed to go to, and I got trapped in there. I can't get out now.
Are you sure you're trapped though?
Because I've gone to the exits, quote unquote, and I try to get out. At least the exits I've found, and most of them are like things are out of reach. And I think at one point I was even talking with Eddie about it. I was like, hey, yeah, like I can't get out. He's like, oh, just use this ability and you should be able to like plop, 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 get out of there. I'm like, I don't have that. He's like, oh, okay. He's like, I don't know how you don't have it. Like, so I did things out of order apparently in that game. I skipped to places where
I guess, but games have been letting you do that for the longest. Super Metroid lets you do that. If you were good enough, you could break sequence and stuff like that. So
there might be a way to get out, but I have not figured it out. And so that's why I like ended up putting it down and not finishing up. But what I played of it, like, it's a gorgeous game.
It's a phenomenal game.
The soundtrack in that is great. I love the art style. The enemies are fun. Like, the fights are fun.
Hard as nails.
I love how it is hard as nails, but also just enough give to where I don't know. Like, I feel like, again, I'm a bad gamer. You guys all know this. And I was able to, beat up quite a few of those guys. Like, I was like, okay, I can actually do this. Like, you learn the patterns and get in the rhythm and figure it out. Like, okay, I can actually do this. This is fun. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. Oh, hang on. Selkies and chess. Sequence breaking is very commonplace anymore, but there are odd moments where it can break the game. Yeah, that's what I just don't know for sure. Without totally doing a bunch of research on it. Like, there might be a way out of where I am, but I haven't found it. That's for sure. Or if there is, it's in an area that's too hard for me at this point, where it's like I need to be like a pro level gamer at Hollow Knight. I need Eddie to get in my save and help me get out of this area just so I can get that ability that I'm missing. But this would be incredible. So let's just say this is real. Okay. What's the chance that it comes out the end of this year?
I think if they're putting up product pages for it, it likely would have to be ready to go, right? Because it tells me that these companies are putting stock into the game, right? Because when you put up a product page, you have to pay for that listing, because you're going to have to pay for whatever transactions go through, right? Through whatever payment processing service that you use. And then you also have to pay for that extra server space to host whatever file is going to be there. So if they're going to put up the money to do this listing, they must be seeing like the light at the end of the tunnel, or something must be coming through.
Yeah.
And if it's Xbox, it makes more sense for them, because they're getting ready to have, or there's rumors that they're going to be having an event here coming pretty soon around the Summer Game Fest time, like June, I think it is.
Yeah.
So what better way to start off summer than to be like, we have the world premiere of Silksong, and we have a release date.
I mean, well, So it sounds like too, at least from this news article, it sounds like Xbox is the last one to get a store page. So yeah, and from what I can tell, Switch, Steam, GOG, Humble Store, and PlayStation have had them for like a couple years now. And just now, Xbox is finally getting it. So it's almost like the final piece in the Infinity Gauntlet. Like, all right, Xbox has finally made the listing. I think that checks out. I could totally see an announcement happening this year with Summer Game Fest here, or even if it's a separate event that they're doing, like. Because didn't they do the initial reveal? Wasn't it them?
I don't think so. I think there wasn't a direct.
Oh, okay.
I want to say, but you know what? Here's okay. Let's circle back. Over under 50%. Is Silksong going to be on Game Pass day one? I'm saying over.
You think it'll pop up there?
I think so. I think if Xbox gets the new reveal, right? And they get the date, I think it's gonna say it's gonna be on Game Pass day one. I think they need that more than the other two do. They need that haymaker, that reason to get Game Pass. And you already know the tidal wave of people who are looking to play this game. So if you tell them, oh, you can play this on Game Pass and then get a whole bunch of other games along with it to play, sounds like a win-win-win to everybody.
I think Xbox will fight for it. They want it. I think they're probably frothing at the mouth to get a hold of it. If I was Team Cherry, I wouldn't, because I think they could make more money. They could make more money because there's so many people dying to get it. People are gonna buy it, and
no, I'm not saying exclusive to Game Pass.
I know.
I'm just saying
when they put stuff on when developers put games on Game Pass, a lot of times it's kind of like from what I understand. Obviously, I've never dealt with Xbox and sold a game to Game Pass, but it's kind of like it's not always.
It's a finite amount.
It's a finite amount, and it's not always a great deal. It could be a good deal, but not like great. I feel like, imagine if it just is on Xbox and like people pay full dollar for it because they've been dying for it for a long time.
Yeah.
Actually, but hang on. I have an update.
What?
Look what I just found. This is on Hollow Knight's official website. I just went to HollowKnightSilksong.com. This is Team Cherry's official website for Silksong. If you scroll down, it says Steam, GOG, Humble Store, Nintendo Switch, PS5, and it already has the Game Pass logo.
There we go.
So they got it. I don't know. I just feel like if I was Team Cherry, I would have held out, because instead of getting whatever this finite number is from Xbox or Game Pass, they could have been getting the $60 a piece for the whatever, thousands and thousands of people who would most definitely buy it,
Well, see, I would push back on that though,
unless they got a sweet deal from Xbox. Like that's
what I was gonna say.
That's the bargaining chip. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, number one, that, but also number two, if I'm Team Cherry, I would do the Game Pass, because I think it's been reported that Hollow Knight definitely does the most number. I think it does the most numbers on Switch, if I'm not mistaken, right? So if I know the majority of my money is coming from the Nintendo ecosystem, like we're going to do numbers over there, then I'm just going to put it on Game Pass here, because if not as nearly as many people are going to buy it on Game Pass or buy it on Xbox outright, a bunch of people already have Xbox or have Game Pass. So they, you may not get sales, but you're going to get, a crazy number of users playing your game. So yeah. I would put it on Game Pass, because I know the majority of my money is going to come from the eShop, and likely, a good amount is coming from PC and PS4, but Switch is really where Hollow Knight shines as far as sales are concerned. So yeah, I would put it on Game Pass. As long as Microsoft's not like I know they don't have like a non-compete, of course. You would be a maniac to sign that. Like, oh, if you put it on Game Pass, you can't put it anywhere else. Psych.
Yeah,
absolutely not happening.
No, I just hope they they got what they're worth. Because my fear is like they make a deal to get on Game Pass and kind of get screwed over. Like, oh, we could have made more money if we sold it piecemeal on Xbox or whatever. So it's like, just based off of the name itself, it's like I hope they got what they're due, because they're
absolutely. And I think Xbox knows that too. Like this has evolved into a megaton game. Like they can negotiate that kind of price just based on how big Hollow Knight has gotten, and they know how anticipated that the Hollow Knight sequel Silksong is. Really, honestly, that might be as close to a blank check example of a Game Pass game, I think, that you can get in recent memory.
How big? Do you know how big Team Cherry is?
I assume not very, or at least they weren't very when the first Hollow Knight came out. But like I said before, I think they probably expanded greatly between then and now.
Throw a number out there. How many people work at Team Cherry?
I'd say when the original Hollow Knight came out, maybe 10 to 12. And now I think they're probably around 100.
I'm going to read this article from Game Rant by Cameron Swan. This is the middle of the article. I'm not starting at the top. This is about the middle. Mm-hmm. But here's a headline. Here's the heading for this paragraph here. Actually, I'm not going to read that. I'm just going to read this. An indie developer based in Adelaide, South Australia, Team Cherry currently consists of just 3 full-time employees.
Really? Oh, full-time. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure
so they probably have hundreds of assistants and things like that. So.
Maybe. Let's see what this. Ari Gibson is one of the Team Cherry's co-directors alongside William Pellin. The first Hollow Knight originally stemmed from a game jam that Gibson and Pellin participated in, with Gibson taking on the role of developer and Pellin taking on the role of artist. From there, Gibson and Pellin joined forces with Jack Vine, the studio's lone coder, and Dave Causey, the studio's former technical director who left the company in 2017. Of course, Team Cherry had a little help along the way with the first Hollow Knight, with Shark Jump aiding in distribution and PR for the game, and composer Christopher Larkin forging Hollow Knight's incredible soundtrack. But now, just Ari Gibson, William Pellin, and Jackie Viner working on Hollow Knight Silksong, meaning that one of the most anticipated games of all time is being worked on by a team of just 3 people. Therefore, development time is understandably longer than it might be for a larger team.
It's not just 3 people. It's 3 full-time people.
But
they are definitely being assisted.
Dare call Cameron Swan a liar?
I do. Well, I don't call him a liar. He's telling the truth. There are 3 full-time employees working on Hollow Knight, 100%. But a game of this caliber at this point, definitely, they are definitely, getting support from other teams and entities. There's no way they're not.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, even like they said, like for distribution and PR, they're getting help, but
right.
I mean, there's a chance.
Even development.
There's a chance for the development of the game. They might just keep it between the 3 of them. Like if they care about the vision that much. I mean, there's like, I get that. Like if there's a project I'm working on where it's like, oh, I have a very specific vision and want it to look a certain way. Like it's either going to be just me working on it or like 1 or 2 other people. Like if there's something that you don't want to screw up, like you keep it with as few people as possible. Like I get that mindset. I don't know if it's necessarily a good mindset, but I could see that. I don't know. I trust it.
If it is 3 people, then it is. And now it's understandable why it's taking so long. If it's just 3 people,
right.
So that might all add up, and it might all check out and track. So we'll have to see. I don't know. If it is, I would be very surprised if it is just 3 people in active development on that game.
Thank you so much for watching that clip from our podcast. Remember, if you want to watch the whole episode, the full episode, link will be in the description below. You can click on that and check it out. We got listener questions. We got more news segments. We got what you playing. We got a lot of fun things. So yeah, more than just the news. There's a lot more to the show that you should go check out. So remember, click that link in the description. Check out that full episode.